Forget about the Cardano FUD. Analysts are predicting a rebound for ADA, with some even predicting it could reach up to $10. Want to know why and what this means for your investment? Let's jump down into the charts and take a look at what's going on for Cardano's ADA. So let's talk about Cardano ADA and its potential rebound. A lot of analysts out there are taking a look at the charts, taking a look at where things were back in 2020, and basically looking to see whether or not we are going to repeat history with the run that we saw in 2021, which, as you can see here on the chart, was over 17,000% in gains from the crash that we saw in March 2020. Now, why are analysts predicting such a run to the upside? Well, a lot of this is to do with something called an Adam and Eve pattern. Now, I'm not a big believer in the Adam and Eve pattern, but I'll kind of show you what they're talking about. They see this initial run to the downside and this relief rally here. And this being our Adam pattern, and then you have an Eve pattern coming in here, where we then see a bit of a run to the upside. Okay, it's quite similar to, I guess, a backwards cup and handle to a degree. So let me try and draw that again a little bit neater. So we have the push down and the rally up. That is your Adam pattern. You then have this curved pattern right here being Eve. You then have the retest and then the launch to the upside. And this is the pattern that a lot of analysts are looking at for Cardano right now, basically making the assertion that we're going to repeat history with a very similar setup right now. So although Cardano is down on its luck a little bit here, it is actually starting to gear up a little bit. There are a few concerns that I have though, and I'm going to run through those with you right now. So if the Adam and Eve pattern is to be something that we see, we're going to have to obviously see how that fits in with what is going on right now. Now, this is being drawn on a smaller scale for our charts here. Okay, so what's being referenced is this little correction that we've seen so far. This actual, I say little correction, it's quite sizable for ADA really. Coming down here and losing 50.72%. Okay, so we do know that Cardano's price action has been quite negative. And the Adam and Eve pattern that's being drawn or referenced is here. So you have the Adam, you then have the curved move up, we have the retest, and then the launch. Okay, that's kind of what they're looking for. So we're looking for, at least many analysts are looking for that next kind of completion or the next surge to the upside to basically complete that Adam and Eve pattern, right? That we saw back in 2019 and 2020 before we got into that bull run of 2021. Now, Cardano's bull run was phenomenal, over 17,000% in gains, right? And this is something that many analysts are looking to repeat. There are a couple of concerns that I have though, and we're going to address those right now. So here we have a couple of most recent moves for Cardano's ADA. Okay, we have this move to the downside coming down and just narrowly avoiding this Fibonacci 1.618 area at the 38.65 cent. Now, the concern that I have is we're not out of the woods just yet, okay, because we are still technically in the idea of a five-wave movement. We haven't broken or invalidated that. And for anyone who doesn't know and wants to know a little bit more about Elliott wave and understand the different kind of structures, A, B, C's, WXYs, WXYXZ, 1 through 5. There's a lot of resources available in our free Discord. The link for that is in the description below. So when we have a five-wave move like this, the only way to prevent it is to cross its wave 1 low point, which is 55.93 cent. So unless ADA is going to rally up, crossing 55.91, we're unfortunately going to see a bit more slippage to the downside and a bit more of a correction for Cardano's ADA. Now, at the moment, as you can see, we're finding resistance on that white line. That white line is the 200 exponential moving average on the daily time frame. And unfortunately, the 200 EMA is a trend filter, with the price currently lower than the 200 EMA and finding the 200 EMA as a resistance. Unfortunately for me, I think Cardano is likely to see rejection here, and we're going to slip down a little bit deeper in the price chart. But what an opportunity that in itself does present. It's going to be some huge opportunities for dollar cost averaging and for building out those positions with Cardano's ADA. And I do think in the long term, we are going to see that fantastic bullish market. So it just means that maybe the Adam and Eve pattern is actually going to take a little bit longer to play play on out, and we're going to see that surge to the upside a little bit later in life. Let's take a look at the charts once again. So if we do complete this correction, it, in my opinion, could be a irregular flat correction. Again, this is another Elliott wave theory term, but I'll draw it on here as an A, B, C pattern. Okay, and we do have a brief target range of around 35 cents at the moment on this. Now, an irregular pattern like this is really quite a complex Elliott wave theory structure. It isn't something that you see all that often, and it's only really recognizable when you see those 5-wave movements. 5-wave movements are very unique when it comes to Elliott wave theory because they dictate a trend. However, there are a couple of scenarios where a 5-wave movement actually is not a trend, and it trips up retail investors into thinking there's a lot further to the downside to go, when in reality it might actually be a finishing move and we then start to launch to the upside. And that is where I think we currently sit when it comes to Cardano's ADA. I do think this is a corrective pattern and we have much further to the upside than to the downside. So although we might find ourselves slipping down a little bit, I do think we're actually going to be in a reasonable area for great accumulation in this low area, and then a takeoff and a big launch and a mega rally or a bull run, however you want to articulate it, for Cardano's ADA. And I do think the native token of the Cardano ecosystem is going to flourish. Now, if history does tend to repeat itself, it's going to be a phenomenal run for Cardano. Okay, we'll be talking about 17,000% from its bear market low point, which is currently coming in at 22 cents. And if we were to see 17,000%, it is going to be one hell of a run for Cardano. It would put us at approximately $37. Now, I know I've been through this a number of different times. The price predictions on the channel might seem crazy and they might seem very unrealistic, and $37 is definitely going to be a stretch of a target. I'm not sat here saying that it's a guarantee and that we're definitely going to be seeing $37. All I'm saying is that it's technically possible within the price charts for us to repeat what's already happened in the history of ADA, and if we do, we're going to see a phenomenal run that's going to shock many people. But wait, I know market cap, right? I understand. Market cap, though, is of course based on the price action. In order to calculate market cap, you have to take the circulating supply of a project or a cryptocurrency and then multiply it by the price. That in itself means that price isn't dictated by market cap. Instead, it's the other way around. The market cap is basically reliant on price. So don't get yourselves tripped up thinking that the market cap is going to be a barrier for price to push up higher. In fact, the market caps can be quite misleading. They don't show you value. They don't show you liquidity. They don't really show you all that much. It's more important to worry and to focus in on what actually moves price. And those are actually supply and demand. If you can focus in on what's going to shrink your supply and increase your demand, you're going to be finding the recipe for success in terms of price appreciation. But the opposite is also true. If the supply starts to expand and the demand starts to shrink, well, price is going to be tanking, and it will probably tank quite hard depending on how little demand versus supply there is. So don't worry about the market cap, just focus on supply and demand. Okay, so when it comes to the price action for Cardano, I think we're more likely to see somewhere between $5 and $12 in that next cycle and that next run to the upside. But I definitely wouldn't mind seeing a $34 to $37 Cardano ADA. Let me know what your thoughts are on that in the comments below. Have you heard the rumors of a mega pump? Well, Cardano price prediction is a mega move on the horizon here for Cardano's ADA. Well, there's a lot of analysts out there that are looking at the data, they're looking at the charts, they're looking at their indicators, and a lot of them are coming to the same conclusion that ADA might just be ready for a bull run. Now, we know from the price charts it has that potential move a little bit deeper. We might have to dip down towards kind of 35 cents, maybe a little bit lower, before we finally get that next bullish movement to the upside. But one of the things that's pretty consistent across the different markets, and specifically the different analysts that are out there looking and analyzing the price action of ADA, we're all pretty much coming to the same conclusion. Cardano's ADA is almost ready for a very, very big move to the upside. We first of all might see a little bit of volatility in the kind of smaller time frames over the next few weeks, but in the longer term or in the bigger picture, the bigger macro, we can see Cardano's ADA doing incredibly well. Many analysts, as I said in the intro to today's video, are talking about the price action moving up towards $10 by the time this bull market comes to an end. And I myself am predicting somewhere between 5 and 12. It does make a lot of sense for that particular area to be where a lot of the resistances are. And of course, we do have that idea that if we were to repeat history, we're going to be seeing Cardano's price mirroring that of 2021, seeing 17,000% upwards towards the $34 to $37 level, which would be absolutely phenomenal. I know I would not mind seeing such a price. However, if we are to see a continuation of the most recent price action, it is one hell of an opportunity to be taken advantage of. Ultimately, if the price does continue to cool off and we do see 35, maybe a little bit lower, 30 cent, that is a huge opportunity to dollar cost average and build out your positions even more than you already have done. It could be one of the last opportunities to buy Cardano at these phenomenally cheap prices. But it's not all about price action. There's some pretty big things going on in the Cardano world. Here we can see that the 𝐒𝐲𝐞𝐜𝐢𝐚𝐥 hard fork is on the verge of a new era, but a constitutional challenge awaits. Let's jump into what is going on here. So in this particular piece of news, the Cardano CEO has announced the launch of an interim constitution for the network. The 𝐒𝐲𝐞𝐜𝐢𝐚𝐥 hard fork is Cardano's first major upgrade of 2024 with community-driven governance at its core. The constitution, which aims to guide the community through the transition, should be ready by the end of the year. So this is a pretty interesting one, right? Obviously, we know that there's lots of governance issues across many different kind of ecosystems, whether you are a Bitcoin maxi, an Ethereum guy, maybe you like the Polkadot ecosystem. Each come with their own challenges around the community and around governance. And at its core, we can see that Cardano really have got this well thought out. Now, there's going to be a lot of challenges in the coming kind of weeks and months when it comes to governance on the Cardano ecosystems, as we have seen many other ecosystems go through or are continuing to go through those issues at the moment. This is a pretty big milestone for Cardano and for the community as a whole. This is something that allows us all to get involved and really help push forward the way that Cardano is going to be going into the next kind of, 10, 20, 30 years. This to me is something that we really need to be taking part in and something that we really need to be really kind of vocal about what makes Cardano great and, specifically in comparison to other ecosystems. A governance at its core, which is a part of this hard fork, I think is absolutely fantastic. So guys, you can let me know your thoughts on the governance side of things for Cardano in the comments down below. But I think this is a fantastic thing that is, it's going to be a few challenges, but it's going to get them across the line. And I think it's going to come out absolutely fantastic at the other end. Now that we've kind of covered off what's going on with the price action of Cardano, you should probably check out this video here where we're discussing what's going on with the price action of XRP.